It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by Agile Dad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started. Let's talk for a moment about Agile leadership. So, in the past, I've had lots and lots of opportunities to work with C level executives and Agile leaders and people who are leading Agile organizations all over the world. And what I could tell you is that I've seen a trend of some really haunting problems that these leaders had with trying to get Agile implemented in a workspace. And some of the solutions they've come up with while being creative really didn't make much sense. So, let me give you some examples of things that I saw. So, without necessarily naming the companies, because I don't want to be disparaging, but I was working with one organization, and this particular leader said, I started at the bottom, now I'm here. I was once a developer, and I wrote code myself, and I know how things are. And they emphasized that they were fixing bugs as a former developer because there wasn't time for the team to get the work done that they needed to get done during a normal work week. So this leader, this executive, if you will, was going into the code and actually doing work, which I thought was quite weird, quite strange. It almost created an atmosphere of I don't trust my team to do it, so I'm just going to do it myself. And wow, the impact that had on a team was so negative, and it was just really, really interesting. Another example from a different organization was I had a leader say, we're going to offer bonuses for results and quality of the tasks that you're performing. And sometimes it results in we're going to have a paid bug hunt to try to find as many defects in the code as we can, or we're going to reward people for lines of code or whatever the case may be. And wow, it was interesting because the best individual contributors always would win, and the people who were left with doing the brunt of the regular work were frustrated because they never had a chance to get ahead. It wasn't equal. It wasn't good for them to do things, and that of course resulted in negative thought process. Uh, Testing software and coordinating releases. Trying to do so much that you can, even in a leadership role, as far as going in and executing tests and coordinating when release dates are going to be, and trying to make sure things get pushed through to production. There's so many things wrong with that. Or if you're the executive who's always writing detailed specification documents and creating, Java classes and sequence diagrams and understanding algorithms and use cases and business rules, as a leader, that's not your job. I mean, it's your job to help make sure you provide the tools so people can do that, but it's not part of your responsibility. And of course, there's the leader who says, I'm going to solve these problems by creating procedures and instructions that are going to help people never break and never fail and never do these things. While, don't get me wrong, it's important to have a quality system in place. I think that when you're the leader and you're creating all these things, it just creates this iron fist ruling, and it leaves people with negative taste in their mouth. So now that I've shared with you all the negative things, that these leaders do, even during their 60-plus hour work week, I think once leaders have contacted us and gone through an Agile Leadership Summit, they start to discover 5 or 6 tricks that help them really understand Agile better and help them understand what their role is in this framework. So let's start with number one. So, number one, good, strong Agile leaders that understand what they're doing are frequently communicating the vision and strategy. They have an Agile press release created for the organizational vision and strategy of what we're trying to achieve, and they're communicating it. And this is passed down to the product level where product owners have the same document, the same thing, where they're talking about product vision and strategy so that we can make sure we're on the same page, have the right checkpoints, and push forward doing the right thing. Okay. Strong leaders encourage experimentation and learning from your mistakes. I remember it was a high level executive who once said, they have one of their other executives on the team make a mistake that cost the organization several $1 million, and it was within the first few weeks of that associate being there. And the associate came into the office for a brief meeting with a box with all their belongings. And the leader was like, what are you doing with this box? What's up with that? And I said, well, the writing's on the wall. I know this is going to be my last day. And the leader smiled and looked at him and said, "Why would this be your last day? Why would I fire you after I just invested so many $1 million in your education?" I think that if we encourage people to learn from our mistakes and not cut corners and to address things as they happen, but encourage experimentation and trying new things, that's going to be the key to really helping the organization get a hold on success and really be able to get their head around what the most critical things are and getting those things done. Okay. The next one was one that I have to openly admit I struggled with at first. And this is letting others work however they need to. So sometimes the people closest to the problem are people who work differently, and they need to find techniques that they need to do to solve the problem. If you're frequently saying with rigid, detailed instructions, this is step one, step two, step three, you're not allowing people to do the work that they need to solve what they need to solve. And I think that this ties into the next one quite a bit. The next one I had written down was showing trust instead of always exercising control. It's no secret as a C-level executive that you have ultimate control over what happens. There, I said it. And nobody can stand in your way. And you have the power. If you want to be the guy who holds up the sword, He-Man, by the power of Grayskull, that's fine. If you have the power, then everyone knows it. You don't need to exude the power in order to make sure they know it. I think that if you show trust and delegate some of the actions that you normally would be doing, let other people take on those responsibilities, let them experience what it's like to grow, push them to a little bit out of their comfort zone so that they can grow and they can experience new things. And I think it's a spectacular way to allow people to really see what their potential is. Okay. Whatever you do, make sure you invite other people to help co-create goals, whether it's teams, engineers, whether it's product owners, whether it's coaches, or whoever it is. You want to make sure as a leader that you're inviting other people to co-create what goals you're working on, because that helps them understand the why behind the what and not just the what you're asking for, right? And then finally, give teams a problem to solve instead of dedicating all of your time to specific tasks. It's easy for us to get caught in a trap of saying, here are the 8 things you need to do, as opposed to giving a team a problem to solve and letting them creatively figure out ways to solve the problem. If you can get to the point where you're creatively solving a problem, that's going to help you quite a bit. And these things should be common sense, but what I've discovered is that over time, people forget the simple things. So if you can implement these simple things, it's going to help you be a better leader. That's going to do it for today's episode. I hope that you got something good out of it. If you have a topic you want us to cover, make sure you reach out to us, learn more at agiledad.com. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.